How would you feel about a 40-year-old guy dating a 19-year-old chick?
I think it's wrong. No. I think the 40-year-old should accept responsibility and understand that that is completely not okay. And it's not, she's a full-grown adult, but I don't think it's okay.
I would like to chime in and just let y'all know I made more money from my sugar daddy than I did from my full-time job that I have a college degree for.
So I did the same thing, but I will say that my experience as a 24-year-old having a sugar daddy and a 19-year-old having a sugar daddy were very, very different. And I think that I made better decisions as a 24-year-old than I did as a 19-year-old.
Guys, welcome to Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. For a long time, I've kind of railed against the college system. I didn't go to college. I left high school. I did college for like a semester of 2. I did CAD, computer-aided design and mechanic, and the first classes back then, a long time ago, in computer-aided design or like CAD CAM kind of stuff, is you still had to learn mechanical drawing, how to do engineering designs and things like that. And it was kind of interesting, but I did it for like a semester or 2, and I said, I'm kind of burned out on school. So instead I joined the military. They stuck me as a cop. I didn't want to be a cop. And after I got out, I said, I'm just going to enter the corporate world. I was a dishwasher. And now I've got probably 20 jobs that were darn near minimum wage between the ages of like 15 and, 18, 19. But once I got out, I decided, hey, I want to do at least a corporate job. And I ended up being a loan officer and a debt collector and that was like $7.50 an hour is when I started, which I think minimum wage was like $5.25 way back in the day. But while I was looking for that job, I made minimum wage as a dishwasher and a line cook somewhere because I had a car payment to make. I had bills. And over time, I went from being a loan officer, and then I went to assistant manager, and then I became a branch manager, and I was making about $50,000 a year. And that took me from ages, I want to say, military was 18 to 24. No, 18 to 22, 23, 24. So probably from like 24 to 28 for those 4 years, I went from loan officer to branch manager. I busted my tail. I worked hard. I was intelligent. I was good with customers. Management was comfortable. So I became a manager. And all of a sudden, I've got manager on my resume. Then I went out and started looking for other jobs. And I always had a part-time job while I had a full-time job. So while I was a full-time job doing that, my part-time job was in jewelry. And I'd been in part-time jewelry since I was before military. So before you know it, the part-time jewelry job is paying me $14 an hour plus commission. And I said, something, I'm tired of being a debt collector. I actually had to foreclose on a family on their home about a week or 2 before Christmas. And it broke my heart. And it's like, I have to do this. This is my job. But I didn't want to do that anymore. And I said, you know what? I'm going to give up the money and the position because I don't want to be a horrible human being. That was my decision I made. So I talked to the jewelry store. I could go full time, and I started working for them. And then over the course of years, I went from, jewelry store salesman to assistant manager to store manager. Then I'm making, 60 or 70 grand a year. This is going somewhere. Trust me on this. So then I'm making 60 or 70 grand as a store manager. And I said, you know what? I don't want to be in jewelry anymore. I've always wanted to be in computers. So I went from making 70 grand a year to getting an entry-level job in computers as a contractor. I think Salesforce or one of these business contractors. I put my resume with them, and they shopped and found me a job, and I became a contractor. It was a Fortune 500 network company. I got in the door. It was like 43 grand a year. I took a pay cut of 30 grand. Because I was changing, but because I had manager and I was good with customers, and this was a job where I was working on a project that had to work with customers, but I was on the tech side, I got my foot in the door. And then over the course of the next 4 or 5 years, I changed positions and worked my way up. And next thing you know, I'm a network engineer on a product making 120 grand a year that's also still customer facing, working with customers that had our product on their computers, and they paid big contracts to our company to solve their problems. And that's what I did. This was at the tender age of, 43 or 42 or 41 or something like that. It took me 25 years to get the job I wanted, but I had 0 college degree. I just built up, and by the time I hit my 40s, I'm making 6 figures. My point is, of telling you all this, is the college wasn't necessary. With a really good, strong resume and a good, strong background, I was able to get my foot in the door where people really needed or were supposed to have 4 years of college plus experience at the job. I got my foot in the door. What's happening now is companies are saying, you know something, these kids that are coming out of college are idiots. They're coming out with a bunch of woke garbage. They go to math class and they're taught about woke crap and you know, anti-Trump and pro-LGBT TV stuff and, you know, diversity and all. They're coming out with being basically dumber than when they went in. They're just getting indoctrinated. But they're also coming out with $200,000 in debt. And they don't know how to do anything because they've been told how to do things. You know, and back when I was in college and military, you know, the military tells you to do everything. But there's also ways you need to figure out things for yourself. And then once you get into management and the real world of jobs, you realize, hey, I'm paid. The more problems I can solve without having to involve other people, the more money I get paid. Well, what's happening? These companies have said, you know what? Enough of these garbage people. They're coming out with a bunch in debt. They're requiring these high salaries. They're entitled, and they don't know anything. And they've said enough, and they realize it. This is from Fortune magazine from going back just last year, October 2022. Gen Zers don't see the point in getting a degree. Here's how to fix the return of investment on college. Well, you can't. So Gen Zers are seeing this. And you guys I've told you for a long time, I'm not a big proponent of college unless you specifically need it, like doctor or lawyer or things like that. From CNBC, their work segment. No college degree, no problem. More companies are eliminating requirements to attract the workers they need. April 25th, 2022. So as of a year ago, and they say companies, especially those in tech, have been trying upskilling, reskilling, and quicker background checks to get enough of the talent they need amid the labor challenges. Now they're doing something else. No college degrees required. In place of 4-year degrees, many companies are instead focusing on skills-based hiring to widen the talent pool. That's how I got my job. From Walmart, and this is as of September 28th. Walmart plans to remove college degree requirements from hundreds of corporate job descriptions. Let me pause this here, and we're going to listen to this, because this is as of a week ago, which is mid-October. U.S. companies increasingly eliminate college degrees as a requirement amid out-of-control school costs. Now, let me put a pin in this for a second. Look, let's not think corporations are doing this for the love of you. They don't care about you. They don't care. They don't give anything about you. They could care less. They want cheaper labor. And a lot of times, college kids are coming out and they say, I need this much for rent and this much for my college school payments, and I want this much for the fancy car, and I want, because there are a lot of kids that go to college right now are entitled, and they're coming out with backwards education where they haven't actually learned anything meaningful. And as a matter of fact, they're told to complain about everything that a company does, and that hey, you're not diverse enough, or you said the wrong political statement, so now we hate you as our own employer. Look at Google. Google's had Google employees protesting against Google. And Google's like, we're done with this crap. So as much as I want to say that this is a good thing, let's keep in mind, you're going to have to still probably take less money than you want, probably have roommates, probably drive an older car than you want, and probably have 2 jobs to try to get ahead today. So let's not think companies are being awesome about this. But what they are saying is, you know what, these kids coming out of college are dingbats, and they want too much money, which gives you a leg in the door. If you don't have that degree, you're willing to work the hours, you're willing to come in maybe at a little bit lower position and work your way into it like I did. I could have probably gotten into computers a decade and a half faster than I actually did. The reason why I didn't, I kind of liked being a manager of a jewelry store. It was easy and it was kind of fun. They say U.S. companies increasingly eliminate college degrees as a requirement amid out-of-control school costs. I'm going to play this quick video clip, and this is the lady, probably the HR recruiting lady from, ironically, a lady, of course, from Walmart, and they're kind of saying what the deal is here.
So Walmart is making college degrees optional for hundreds of corporate jobs as part of a trend of companies moving away from degree requirements in favor of skills-based hiring. Walmart Senior Vice President of Associate Learning and Leadership, Lorraine Stomsky, joins us now. Lorraine, this is a fascinating story and development for so many who might be interested. What can you tell them about this change that you are making?
Yeah, listen, at Walmart, what we want to do is to create an environment and a world in which all learning counts, not just simply for those who are, have a college credential. And so we have really taken a step back because we know this is not just good for business, but it's actually great for our associates to unlock opportunity and access to jobs that they may not have had because they don't have a college credential.
Now, this is corporate news speak for a lot, and again, a lot of these kids coming out of college are coming with these like demands. I deserve. They're also coming out of there with, they're more focused on politics. They're more focused on equality and more, instead of just, hey, do your job. Yes, you're going to work hard. Yeah, you'll eventually get paid well for it. Kids coming out of college, their focus is not on a degree because they haven't been taught. Again, math classes are teaching crap about equality. It's like, or equity. It's like, no. Like, aren't we in math class? Shouldn't I be learning about math or computer programming or engineering or something? And these companies realize it. They're basically, when they hire somebody out of college, depending on the college, they're hiring some that's like a little drone, a drone of the establishment now.
Very interesting.
And so
when it comes to the economics of this, just to be clear, we have some stats on salaried managers at Walmart. We're putting them up on the screen here for our viewers. The salaried managers start at hourly roles, 75% of them. Their approximate yearly salary totals $113,000. So is it fair to say that these jobs that will be offered to people without a college degree will be earning six-figure salaries?
It's very much in the realm of possibility. So we're still in the process right now for our campus roles. We're starting there and saying, let's take a look at rewriting all of these job descriptions and capturing all the skills and the experiences that our associates have that would qualify them for those roles.
Now, let me tell you something. And this is my wheelhouse. I can't talk much about college. I can't talk much about a lot of things when it comes to this stuff. But I can tell you this. When I started in the financial world right out of military, I started as a loan officer and a debt collector. I worked my way up to manager. Now, this is going back a long time ago, 30, 20 years, 30, 25, whatever it is. Long time ago. Salaries were a lot different. You could survive pretty comfortably on 50, 60 grand a year. As a manager with that company, I was making 55, 60 grand a year. And I was, I think, still 28 years old. Now you say, well, that's not that money. Yeah, or that's not that much money. Yeah, but I didn't have a degree. I didn't have college costs. I had a roommate at the time in my apartment, so I think our rent was like $1,200 or $1,300. Again, we're going back a long time ago. My rent was like $550. My car payment on a relatively nice car was $350. Like, it was definitely different money back then. But because I found a roommate, because I had a car that didn't have every bell and whistle on it, it was a very basic, it was like a 93 Honda Civic, and it didn't have power windows, and it didn't have power locks. It didn't have air conditioning. It didn't have a radio because I specifically ordered it. I went in there, looked at what they had on lots, and I'm like, can you order them without a radio? And they're like, and without air conditioning? They're like, yeah. I bought that car for like $13,000, $14,000. Brand new, because I wanted a new car that didn't have any previous owners. We know what that's like. That's why we want a woman without any previous owners as well, because we know everything that's happened to them back then, right? So yeah, things were different. But then I moved to jewelry, and I went part-time sales associate to full-time to assistant manager to store manager, making 70 grand a year. Then I went to network engineering, and I started as a contractor. That was full-time contractor with no benefits and no just a hourly rate. And then I got hired on by the company, and I went to 95 grand a year. And then I got the opportunity to do scheduling and become the manager of the department, and I got 125 grand a year. All these jobs, I started at entry level, and I worked my way up, and I worked my way up, and I did that over and over and over again. So when they say, oh, to be a store manager at Walmart, it pays 113 grand a year, but a department manager probably pays you 60 or 70 grand a year. You go in and work in the deli, and you bust your tail, and you work hard, and you've got good work ethic, and you don't complain, and you show up and you do your job, and you do it better than everybody else. Now, I'm not saying Walmart's the place you want to be, but the odds of you within 3, 4, 5 years, all you need is the manager ahead of you to get promoted or drop out, or you look in the area and find another Walmart that has the next position higher than you, and you apply. Because they already know, hey, a Walmart employee already, he just has to change stores. If you're aggressive, you can do this. Walmart's telling you this. IBM's telling you this. This is why I've said college is not necessarily right for everybody. Now, I've always said go into the trades and go into, welding and things like that, because, it's definitely you're needed a lot more. But even if you don't have those skill sets, if you can still bust your tail, work hard, not cause problems for anybody, and you can communicate well. That's the real key to this, is you communicate and you can interview and you have the gift of gab, and you have to practice that. But anyway, the whole point is here that corporations are now saying, you know what, these people that are coming out of college just don't have what we need.
So we anticipate and estimate by this time next year, it will be hundreds of jobs that will remove that from. And it's not to say that a college credential is not going to be relevant for many jobs still, right? If you want to be a general counsel of Walmart, you're going to need a degree. But we firmly believe that there's just hundreds of other roles that it's not necessary. And
now, they say hundreds of roles, but in actuality, I don't know how many stores Walmart has, but Buc-ee's, if you're here in the South, you've heard of Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's just opened a brand new location right down the road. The general manager of the store, which is a gas station, by the way, it's a big gas station. It's almost like the Walmart of gas stations. Like, you can go in and buy shirts and food, and Buc-ee's are awesome, let me tell you. Buc-ee's starting salary for like the general manager was like 120 grand a year. For assistant GM, it's like 98. For a department head, because they have like 5 or 6 different departments, it was like 70. And if you just start as an associate, like a full-time or part-time employee, you get $18 an hour. Now, it sounds like good money. It's really not with the economy the way it is. But my point is, again, if you're willing to work that as a full-time job and then have a part-time job, well, okay, that is a full-time job at $18 an hour. That's 36 grand a year. You have a part-time job somewhere. You can with no education, just being a high school guy, you can have 50, 60 grand a year. You're going to have to work a lot of hours for it, but you can get that money and save that money and do something with it. These college kids can't. The minute they start working, they've got $300, $400, $500, $600 college loans. And the other thing is they have no work. Like, they've been spoiled. A lot of college kids are spoiled and are told, they're the same thing. They're told the same thing these feminists and these women are. You deserve the best. You deserve the world. I've done videos on these girls coming out of college crying because they're not making 150 grand a year, and they have their college bills and loans, and they find out working 9 to 5 is a lot harder than they thought. If it comes to that girl getting a job, or you'll probably win. They say American businesses are increasingly eliminating college degrees as part of their requirements for corporate roles, which is part of a wider trend in the U.S. job market that is de-emphasizing the value of a four-year diploma, according to experts. American companies like Walmart, IBM, Accenture, Bank of America, Google have announced plans to reduce the number of jobs that require college degrees. Michael Gibson, venture capitalist and author of the book Paper Belt on Fire, is a proponent of alternatives to the higher education system in the United States and described the trend as promising, especially given the $1.6 trillion in U.S. student debt. I think that has hobbled the passions and dreams of a lot of people, he said. I think that's why we see the political struggle to cancel the debt. But the most aggravating part is that everyone's paying attention to the poor students who are billed, but no one's blaming the universities themselves for teaching worthless things or not providing the sort of career advice that they should. He added, the more we see people foregoing that system to start a career, the better. So that's the problem. Like our current administration here, the Biden administration, saying, "Oh, we're going to forgive this debt." Do you know what happens if I charge you, if I have a $50,000 car, but I can sell it to you for $100,000, and then the government pays that $100,000 for you to me? What does that tell me? It means that I may have suckered you out of a $100,000 by selling you a $50,000 car, but the government's going to give me the $100,000. So what does that incentivize me to do? Okay, now this car really costs $120,000. Oh, the government will pay that. Now, the next year, the car's really $150,000. Oh, the government will pay that. All it does is cause college to go out of control, even more ridiculous than it already has. The only way to get these prices back down is for people to forego college and make colleges say, hey, you know what? We've got two ways we can survive. A, raise prices. That's not going to cut it. B, cut all the middle management out, the diversity crap, the other stuff, to make the college degree actually meaningful again. And students will then choose which college is actually going to give me the education that I really need versus all this diversity crap and all this other woke stuff. They say Walmart, for example, has eliminated college degrees. We already said that. Between 2017 and 2019, 46% of middle-skill occupations and 31% of high-skill occupations saw a drop in college degree requirements. Dude, 30% of high-skill occupations and 50% of middle, that's amazing. That means you can come in to starting, work your way up to middle, and you don't need that college degree. And 30% of the high-skill occupations don't need that degree. Degrees are becoming worthless because kids are not learning anything with the degrees. They say this could have major implications for how employers find talent and open up opportunities for 2/3 of the Americans without a college education. In line with the trend, a report projected the move could open up 1.4 million jobs for American workers without college degrees over the next 5 years. Now, let me tell you something else here as well, and this is something to be mindful of. A lot of corporations want to save money because corporations, in some ways, are you can call it evil, but really what they're doing is they're trying to always have the stock go up. They're trying to give their shareholders the most money. So, yes, it's less about the employees, and it's more about the CEO, and it's more about the shareholders. So, in some ways, corporations are kind of evil like that, but it's also how capitalism is designed, and it's done very well for 300 years. So what's the gaming to the system? A lot of places like these tech companies, IBM and these other places, what they're doing is instead of hiring the American student with all the college money, the loans that they need and the bad education, instead of hiring him for $120,000 a year, they will get a visa for a guy out of either China or India or something. They'll offer him a work visa, bring him over for 2 or 3 years, pay him $60,000 a year, hire 2 of those guys instead of the one American. And then after their visa expires, they'll either apply for citizenship or they'll send them back home and they'll bring over more Indian or China or whatever, because those colleges at least are teaching the non-woke crap and maybe teaching something that's actually valuable. So even if you say, yeah, but for this job, I do need or want a degree, what are the odds they're going to hire you, especially if you're a white, straight dude? And what are the odds they're going to probably hire somebody out of the country they can pay half the money to, and it fills a diversity quota because he's got brown skin or it's a woman or whatever. So keep this in mind, that really this may actually be the best way to go, because then you got the same odds of everybody else getting hired, but you don't have the degree and the money. They say at the governmental level, States across the country have removed degree requirements for government jobs. According to the Brookings Institution, Virginia became the 13th state to remove such requirements in June. Why? Woke. These colleges are not teaching anything but woke and how to be a good little socialist communist soldier. Apple TV's 2-Minute Drill co-host and National Business Capital CEO and founder Joe Camberto told Fox News Digital that he was not surprised to see big-name companies drop the degree requirements. He suggested that a large demand for employees combined with different views on college requirements by newer generations has likely contributed to the shift. I've done this in my businesses, and I've been very successful by focusing on the individual and these 3 simple things. Do they get it? Do they want it? And are they capable? If they nail those and are culture fit, they are hired. Now notice that word right there. If they are a culture fit. What is a culture fit for a lot of these companies? Not woke, not worried about the political culture of what the company's doing. They want somebody that's going to show up, do their job, shut up, go home. These young little activists coming out of college is not what companies want. Look what happened to Disney with these wokies. Look what happened to Bud with these wokies. Look what happened to Netflix with these wokies. Protests, complaining, fights on Twitter. Look what happened to the video game industry with hiring these wokies. And because so many people coming out of college have this indoctrination, people are just saying, I don't even want college kids anymore. I want somebody that comes straight out of high school that I can train. Every job I've ever had, even if it required a degree, they still have to train you for it. All the degree says is you're a good little robot that can sit down, show up on time, and listen and learn. But if you have a good resume or you have a good ability to communicate and talk, when I go in for a job and they say, why should we give you the job? And I said, because I'm your best choice for the job, because you have to you have to sell yourself. And if you come across as, well, I think I can, just because your company needs me. You have this job listing out there. Your company needs somebody that's going to get the job done. I'm going to get the job done for you. Yes, I'm going to need probably a couple of weeks to a month to get ramped up on the speed of your particular product. But after I'm up to speed, we're going to take off. I'm going to get the job done for you. You're not going to have to worry about it. I'm self-sufficient. You give me the goal. You give me the target of what you want to reach, and I get you there. And then you give me my salary for it. That's really, both of us are happy that way. And believe it or not, talking like that in an interview has gotten me almost every job I've ever applied for if I get the interview. The resume gets you the interview. And then you just talk about like, hey, you're not going to have to worry about me. We're going to get this done for you. Instead of, well, I hope you give me the job because I can totally do that. No, you walk in like Chad Thunderstroke. You walk in like you have to pick the tip of your dick off the ground or else you're going to step on it. You walk in and you talk like you're not a jerk. But you come across as, I got this, man. I got this. And this is why communication skills are so amazing for dates, making friends, getting jobs. If you have to learn any skill in your life, become a BS artist. Be able to talk, be able to communicate, be able to joke, be able to be confident. That'll get you farther than any degree and most things you've ever learned in your life. And that's what these people are saying. They're like, we want somebody that's not crazy. And the people coming out of college are deeply in debt, need a lot of money, and they're crazy. They want a culture fit. Camberto said certain skilled positions in medical, accounting, and law need to hire people with appropriate degrees. Outside of those professions, he does not believe degrees should be the core focus of recruiters and corporations. In his book, Paper Belt on Fire, Gibson challenges the education establishment, promoting stories that support his belief that a college degree is not necessary for fulfilling and a successful career. There are lots of things you can do without a college degree, he explained. Starting companies is easy because you're your own boss, so you don't need to prove your skill set. You just need to make something people want. We're starting to see more and more companies, Google and others, who are now questioning the worth of college degrees. I'm going to pause this for a second. Let me just look up something fun. Hold on. I'm not going to finish reading the other article because you get the idea, but this is what I wanted to bring up from Forbes. Billionaires. They say most billionaires have a college degree, but these self-made starters build their fortunes with just a high school diploma, if even that. I'm just going to read a couple examples. Harold Hamm. Now, all these are billionaires, like lots of billions. Harold Hamm, oil and gas. David Green, Hobby Lobby stores. So I guess he created Hobby Lobby. Diane Hendricks, building supplies. Christy Walton, Walmart. Although I don't know if she started it or if, I don't know if she's one of the Waltons that it was given to her. You know what I'm saying? Don Vutaggio. Arizona Beverages, Dennis Washington, Construction and Mining, Archie Aldis, Timberland, Lumber Mills, Ronald Wayneck, Furniture, Marion Iltek, Little Caesars Pizza, Email Marketing, Dan, Marvel Comics, Best Buy, Hearing Aids, Supermarkets, Hair Care Products, Hair Products, and Tequila. TV network investments, Facebook, Slim Fast, real estate, cheese, sandwich chain, cable television. When you look at, if you look at somebody, like, I know a lot of you don't like him. It's irrelevant. You look at somebody like Tim Pool here on YouTube. Tim Pool's got the gift of gab. He didn't even finish high school. He's a millionaire. Now, yes, it's YouTube millionaire. I get that. But you know what? He found a niche. He's doing well in it. And he's got employees that work for him. He's probably got half a dozen employees. He's got a lot of channels. He goes on Fox News. He gets interviewed. He's he's pretty big name for a YouTuber. Is he the most popular? No, but he puts out steady content, 3 to 4 videos a day. Guy's made millions. He's got his little compound in the woods in West Virginia. Love him or hate him, the point is he didn't even finish high school. He just found something that worked for him and then hustled. And he works his ass off and he puts out 3, 4, 5 videos a day. He doesn't even make a thumbnail for them. Like, he's literally, like, because he just does his thing. The whole point of this is that, number one, I want you to let you know that the woke college kids are not doing all right. That's always good to hear. But number two is, I've said for a long time, you don't need a degree to become successful. I am the poster child of that. I'm probably the least successful now than I've ever been in my life, because now I'm living in a metal building out in the middle of the woods and I talk on video for a couple of bucks a month, right? But the whole thing is that I went from entry-level loan guy to branch manager in finance. And I went from part-time sales and jewelry to store manager. And I went from, a contractor at a Fortune 500 networking company to being like a manager of, 13 people and making 6 figures. I probably could have maybe done that job earlier in my life. But you know what? For me, it's never been about money. It's never been about a success or a business card that says something amazing. I've just wanted to have a kind of a comfortable life. I ended up leaving the network engineering job because even though it was $120,000 a year, number one, I bought some Bitcoin when it was cheap, so I did well on that, and I could kind of change my lifestyle. But number two, I really didn't want to, at 50 years old, I didn't want to be doing the, driving, commuting in from 7 a.m. in the morning and then working a 12-hour shift and getting home at 7 or 7:30 at night. That's not where I was. But I tell you what, if I were 27 and able to work 80 hours a week to make that $120,000, you betcha. I would have done that and invested, and I probably would have been retired by 30 or 35. There's a lot of options out there. And that's why I want you guys to learn and be comfortable with talking to people and having the gift of gab and having a good hard work ethic and show up and be the best that you can be in your job while always looking for your next advantage and your next leg up and your next movement in the cycle, whether you're 22 or whether you're 42. Until you're happy, whether it's happy with the job, happy with your hours, happy with your money, whatever. But you don't need the degree to get it. And the people that got the degrees, they're the ones that are losing because they're crazy. They're crazy people that are a lot in debt. And I think that's always important to know. Guys, if you're over here on YouTube, as always, join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com. I do like 8 to 10 live streams over there, either movies or sports or something like that. We watch something together. We shoot the breeze. We have a good time. There's There's lots of members over there. Great forums. Hope you join us over there. It's $4 a month, literally half the price of a crappy cup of coffee. So I hope you join us over there today, and we'll see you in the next one.